data type. Null value is not assigned by JavaScript itself, unlike the undefined value. Here, the user will assign the null value when it is nothing. Like let's say I have declared an object variable and I use that variable, and again now I want to make that variable not to be used. So I declare the value to be null. So when you are done with the usage and you want to make it as nothing, you can use this null value. Here the type of returns the null value as object. Here similar to undefined value, here we have only the null value for the null data type. Here the results are different when we perform the arithmetic operation on the null value. As in this example, you can check when I multiply the null value with 1, the output is 0, whereas when I perform not on the null, it returns true. And when I want to concatenate the null with an empty string, it returns null as a string. So these are different outputs returned when we perform arithmetic operation on the null data type. So coming to object constructor. Here the object constructor is being used to create an object wrapper for the given value. Here the syntax to create an object wrapper is new of object and the wrapper, which is a value. Here are some of the examples. Like here I created the object wrapper for a given object, like for which contains two properties with the first name and the last name. In the similar way, I created a new object with a null value. So when I create a wrapper for null or undefined, it returns me an empty object. Whereas when I create a wrapper for a given value, it returns the object of that value. So let's check with some of the methods which are supported on this object constructor. Assign, used to copy the values of all enumerable own properties from one or more sources objects to target objects. Here in this example, you can check that I am creating a new object based on the existing objects. Here I have an object called with a properties as A and B, and another object with a property C. So I want to create an object by merging the existing objects. So for that I can use this assign method, which creates a new copy. So the output will be like A1, B2 and C3, which is like merge of the two existing objects. Define property, used to add or modify an existing property of an object. When you want to add a new property to an object or modify an existing property of an object, you can use a define property method. Like here in this example, you can check I defined a property called key with a value as static. Which is writable as false. This means it's a read-only property. So with the defined property, you can add a property or modify an existing property to an object. Is extensible, used to check whether an object is extensible or not. Here in JavaScript, we can log an object or we can make the object as non-extensible. So before you use a define property method over an existing object, you can check so that it won't throw any errors. Like when I use like is extensible method over an object, it will return whether the object is extensible or not. This means in terms of the value true or false. If it returns true, we can add a property or modify a property to an object. If it returns false, we cannot do it. Seal method, used to lock an object, preventing to add new properties. Here the seal method is used when you don't want to extend an object by adding properties. Here in this example, you can check I use the object.seal method over an object containing two properties like first name and last name. So when I try to add full name or some other age or date of birth to this object, it will throw me an error. Here we have one more method called freeze. It marks the object as immutable. One thing is, even freeze is similar to seal, like it won't allow us to add the properties to an object, but the main difference is seal can be used when we want to modify the properties. It will not allow us to add the property, but it will allow us to modify the existing properties which are enumerable. Whereas here in the freeze, we cannot modify or we cannot add the properties to an object. So let's declare a variable with a null value, and let's try to print how message value and the message. So here when I try to print the null value, it is being printed as null. So let's check with the operations. So let's try to print this message which has been multiplied with the 1. So here when I try to multiply the null value with the integer value, it returns as 0. So let's check with not. So here when I perform this not on null value, it returns as true. So as I mentioned before, this null, undefined, 0, false, empty string are considered as false value in the JavaScript. So let's check with string concatenation. So let's concatenate with an empty string. So here it returns a string value as null. So this is all about the null. Let's check with object now. Let's declare a variable called message, and let's try to create a new object based on existing objects. So here let's declare two properties of an object, like a with 1 and b with values 2, and then with one more object c with values 3. So we are merging the two objects, one with the values as a equal to 1 and b equal to 2, and the other with c equal to 3. So let's try to print the properties using the for in loop. So for var prop in message, alert property name prop plus value plus message of prop. So here prop denotes the property, that means key of within that property, and then message of property notes the value of that key. So here it says property A with values 1, and then property B with values 2, and then property C with values 3. So here it merges the two objects and creates a new object. So let's check with other method called isExtensible. Like, let's check whether this newly created object is extensible or not. Message is extensible. Object dot is extensible of message. So let's comment this for loop. So here it returns as true, because as the object is extensible, here it returns as true. So let's first seal the object now using the seal method. That means let's lock the object. Seal of message, alert, message. Let's print the same line. So here before seal it's saying it's an extensible, but after we have sealed the object, it returns as false. So seal will not allow us to add properties to an existing object. So that's all from this session. Thank you.